Hi everybody, and welcome to my monthly Vietnam update. With the market finally correcting after having gained 29% year to date, our portfolio ended the month slightly down. Rising COVID-19 cases, especially in the business hub Ho Chi Minh City, led to profit taking on low volume, with the VN index sharply down, -7%, its first correction since January this year. After outperforming the index during the rise in the first half of the year, our portfolio also held up significantly better than the index, losing only 1.4% for the month, which brings the year-to-date performance to 31.2% according to internal estimates. Hi, I'm Andreas Vogelsanger. I'm the CEO of the AFC Vietnam Fund. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and switch on the notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. Since the last correction in January, the VN index rallied 43% to its latest all-time high on 2nd of July this year at 1,424.28 points. A technical correction was therefore just a matter of time, and with the rising numbers of COVID-19 cases in Vietnam and other countries, especially in Southeast Asia, it was a welcome reason for traders to take profits. In many stocks which have gained actually quite strongly in recent months. We saw this behavior in all previous waves, so this was the fourth wave so far, and hopefully the last, where the market corrected initially just to come out even stronger when the first shock was absorbed. So in this chart here, you see the blue line, which is Malaysia. These are new COVID confirmed cases per 100,000 population. And then you have Thailand, the green line, Indonesia, the pink line, Vietnam is the bright blue line, and then on the bottom is Cambodia. So this is how it looks so far. And here on this chart, you can see all these various waves. We had, for example, in March 2020, we had the initial wave, which was a correction of 27.8%. Then the second wave was in July 2020, where we corrected around 11.1%. And then the third wave was in January 2021, where we corrected around 16.9%. And the current wave looks like we had a correction of 14%. So which was very much in line which we have seen so far in previous waves. But what is different this time is the lack of foreign selling, unlike in other waves or in previous waves. While the current surge in COVID-19 cases is certainly a much larger problem to handle, it also has changed the government strategy of how to handle and deal with it. Being behind the curve in purchasing and administrating vaccines in time, Vietnam, as many other countries in the region, has to admit that their former successful strategy of closing down the country with strict lockdowns does not work anymore. The broader region has ramped up purchases of vaccines, and by the end of the year, a significant part of the population should be vaccinated. Maybe and hopefully. But obviously, we have seen now a lot of leftover vaccines from other countries, which soon should reach Southeast Asia. In Europe and North America, they're already facing problems in reaching out to people willing to get their jabs. And Vietnam, according to the government, the country aims to vaccinate 60 to 70% of its population by the end of the year. So they are trying to vaccinate around 1 million people per day. And that seems to be quite optimistic, but you never know. The country like Vietnam has a population which is following government guidelines, unless in other countries where a lot of discussions are happening, should they get vaccinated or not. So what that obviously this latest outbreak of COVID outbreaks in Southeast Asia triggered a few downgrades in GDP growth. So Asia Development Bank recently announced that the 2021 GDP forecast for Vietnam was initially 6.7%, and they just downgraded that to 5.8%. But really putting that into context, 5.8% is still a very, very strong number. Most Southeast Asian countries are between 2 and 4% maximum in terms of GDP growth expectations for this year. But overall, we saw a very strong second quarter in earnings numbers from our portfolio, and we think that should probably continue. And looking at the manufacturing sector and knowing about the importance of that manufacturing sector, both the government and the companies are trying to minimize the impact of the current situation. And they're coming up with very innovative practical solutions, such as stay at work policy, opposite to the work from home policy which we know in the West. In Vietnam, this is called 3-in-1 solution, which means workers will eat, rest, and work in the factory. So here you see two pictures, or several pictures, but on the left, these are pictures from a company called FMC, so Sao Tao Foods, one of our portfolio companies, which applied that solutions. And in order to maintain production in the second quarter of 2021, the company was able to report a net profit increase of 46%. And the green tents on the right-hand side, this is a picture of one of the Samsung conglomerate factories, which also put that 3-in-1 concept at work. So this seems to be quite popular at the moment in Vietnam. And so basically, as you can see from the chart, our fund has a very low correlation to other indices in the region. For example, the AFC Vietnam Fund outperformed the VN index by more than 10% year to date, and also outperformed the relatively weak emerging markets, which suffered due to a weak Chinese stock market performance. So you have here in red on the top line is our AFC Vietnam Fund, with the latest number is an estimate, which here is indicated at 30.7. It probably should be even slightly higher, at around 31% year-to-date performance. And then you have the FTSE Frontier Market Index in US dollar terms, which performed around 12.6%. Then you have the emerging in orange, the FTSE Emerging Market Index, which lost 1.3%. And in green is the FTSE China ASD Index, which lost 13.4%. So I think we can't really complain with our performance so far. Then what's the next topic? Let's talk a little bit about FPT. It's one of the leading internet companies or software companies in Vietnam. What we have experienced in the first 6 months of 2021 was that the trading system of the Ho Chi Minh Stock Exchange, HOSE, often was crashing during trading sessions, and that was to extremely high volume. So their old system could only handle orders of 999,999 orders per day. So which has not been sufficient in most trading days in 2021, given that there were so many new investors coming to the market, especially domestic investors. And often they had to shut down their trading systems in the afternoon. So urgently something has to be done, and that was widely recognized. So FPT got a mandate to basically upgrade the system and create or rewrite certain parts of the system. And they did that very successfully. And so now the new stock market system in Jose can now handle 3 to 5 million orders per day, which is quite sufficient for the time being. And that's actually a huge step forward. Especially for us, it was not very pleasant if we couldn't trade in the afternoon just because the system couldn't handle all the orders. So these are hopefully tempi passati, and let's hope that the new system will be sufficient for a few years to come. Also, as a company, actually, FPT is quite interesting. We are holding FPT in our portfolio, and they actually reported an increase in the revenues this year of 19.2%, and profits before tax jumped to around 20.9%. This was mainly also due to the COVID impact, which forced a lot of businesses to move to online sales, and that had a good impact, or a strong impact, on their IT services, which increased around 35.1%. But also the stock, in terms of valuation, I mean, as you can see on this chart, it gained 79.2%. compared to the index, which only gained 14.9% this year. But in terms of valuation, it trades at 19 times forward earnings in 2021, so which is comparatively cheap for a global information technology company of such a size. So well, this is all for me, and it was a pleasure giving you this update. You're going to hear from me again next month. I wish you all a great day, and goodbye.